Hi, I'm Tim. I'm here to talk about an all-new, accessible, interactive learning platform for students with developmental or physical disabilities, the TAPit. When we talk about interactive learning, most people think of a smartboard, the interactive whiteboard that's the preferred choice of educators worldwide. Teachers use smartboards to transform teaching and learning. Now, we're all about the smartboard. Because of you, our colleagues and clients, we are the #1 reseller of smartboards in the Midwest, and we understand better than anyone about the power of the interactive whiteboard. Additionally, and perhaps more importantly, we've learned from you that there are some limitations with this application for children with special needs. Let's watch. For a wheelchair user, the board is barely accessible from one side, and from a seated position, most of it is out of reach. The truth is, there is no access from any angle.
Part of my work is going and looking at things like interactive whiteboards, and they're all stuck on a wall. They're all fixed, and they're usually put in schools, even in primary schools. They're usually mounted by grown-ups at grown-up height and completely inaccessible for primary kids. And then the kids come into the room and go, "We can't reach it."
So what's the solution? Your students need an accessible platform, and accessibility is exactly what TAPit provides.
We have a variety of students with disability. Their disabilities are varied, and this particular board, I think, really can hone in on disabilities for kids, and we can adjust it, we can manipulate the piece of equipment, we can adapt it so that it becomes individual for student needs, and that's what we really like about it.
Would you like me to adjust the TAPit for you?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, first we are going to go down and tell me when.
Good.
Okay, and now we're going to tilt out and tell me when.
A little lower.
A little lower.
Yeah.
And tell me when.
Now.
I think the neat thing about that is the ability and the ease of moving that board up and down, putting it at angles that are conducive to what that student needs to be effective.
I love the fact that it lowers and rises according to the students. You know, I have kids in wheelchairs and things like that, so they can be up close and personal.
We can move it up, we can move it down, we can bring it out, especially for our students who are in wheelchairs. It can be brought right out to them and they can actually participate. I really, really like that. For positioning, it's wonderful.
TAPit gave us some more flexibility. I have some real little ones who would have trouble reaching a higher position board, so this allows me to shrink it down, lower it down for them. Some activities where they're actually touching it, interacting with it, that might be hard to do on a vertical surface, we can tilt it so they can have more of a writing surface to use.
This is perfect because it goes at different heights. He's at different times of the day, he's at different heights. So if he's in his chair, he's at one height. If he's in his walker, he's at another height. I love the fact that he's able just to walk up to this and use it. He can just play about, and he can reach all parts of the screen, whereas normally he's restricted to a small little circle at the bottom. Whereas, particularly with the stick, he's able to reach the rest of the screen, which is great.
Here's another important consideration: movability.
I bought one that I thought was going to be fine because it turned vertical, but you can't get it through a door, so it was totally impractical. And I bought another one on a motorised stand, but it's so heavy that no one can move it around the school. So again, it stands in a corner and it's not used.
This is how you move TAPit. Simply lower the screen, turn off the monitor, and go. Now, how exactly would you move this? First, shut off the projector, wait for the door to close, then remember to wait for it to cool. Hey, I'm 6'5", but for the average teacher, which do you think would be easier to move around your classroom or down the hall to a shared space? This or this?
We can move it around and make it meet their needs in terms of height, positioning around the room.
It's something that I've been looking for a long time. One of the main things is that it's very, very portable and it's very, very adjustable. So we have a good proportion of our children are in wheelchairs or in standers, even in side liers. And this is so adjustable that it's going to be perfect for them.
I have students with Down syndrome, I have students on the autism spectrum, I have students with sensory integration disorder, fine motor and gross motor delays, and students that are just delayed overall. A portion of it I think that is great for them is the multisensory. They're feeling it, they're hearing it, they're seeing it.
The best thing, the best indicator whether it's a successful piece of technology is how the students are using it. And just really because of all the multi-sensory levels and approaches and opportunities that it offers for children at their eye level. It's so tactile that they can touch right away. We don't have any fear of whether it tips over because it's so durable. And also it's engaging visually and auditorily.
I see it appealing to my highly tactile learners. I see it appealing to my students who need individual instruction in everything from visual, motor, kinesthetic, basic skills. It would still be a learning tool. That's what I love most about it. It's a learning tool.
They want to get up, they want to play with it, they want to see what it does. Yeah, a lot of my kids that were in there are all very shy and may not speak to you, and they love to use the TAPit.
Their level of engagement with the material has risen tremendously. Things are big enough that they can see it, they can touch it, they're excited to come in and work with it.
It's on probably 80 to 90% of the day. We're using it. You know, we turn it off at lunchtime, we turn it off when we do a group music activity over here, but usually it's on. We do news to you, stories, music videos, and all kinds of activities on it. So it's probably the focal point of our classroom, I'd say.
You know, we're able to use the TAPit even for alternate assessment, one of the requirements for some of our children to do for state testing. The TAPit is a great way to provide that information for the alternate assessment because you can record the data on there. You can take pictures of them using that, and it's functionable. It's something that the kids can actually do independently. So you can actually even keep track of their progress on the TAPit.
Good job.
Rather than just asking a question and getting one person to answer it, I now can see what everyone's responding at any given time. So I have instant feedback to an entire class.
Just another way to participate more and for us to find out what he does know.
TAPit has all the resources that you would need. I mean, it's all right there. It's all in the TAPit.
Louisa is 4 years old. She has Down syndrome. She is mostly nonverbal. She communicates mostly through sign language, sometimes through pictures. She has a few words, like she'll say hi and bye. She started saying no. Of course, that's one of their first words. And so with the TAPit, it gives them that auditory model. On that particular program, it kept saying, thank you, and so she verbally imitated, thank you.
No, if you like this, kind of. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You just said thank you. It's huge.
Like I said, she's mostly nonverbal. I got really excited. That's the first time I've ever heard her say thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just infiltrating her, and it's going in her ears and out her mouth, which is what we want. So she just really enjoys that she can go up there by herself, whereas all the other times she has always had to have adult support. And this has just made her grow in independence. I'm seeing her be independent in other aspects throughout the classroom, but that was the first place where she had independence. Colton is another success story. He is 3.5 now. When he came to us, the only words that we ever understood from him was nummy nummies. And now, as you probably could see, he's talking in 3 to 4 word utterances, and his vocabulary is increasing. I've created many vocabulary games on the TAPit, and the kids are able to make matches. And while they do that, they're saying the new vocabulary. And so throughout this year, his vocabulary has just exploded, and he's independent as well on the TAPit, and he's not independent on a desktop computer.
If it works on your computer, it works on TAPit. Use any of your favorite educational software and alternative input devices.
Okay, can you show for me how you would use BoardMaker on the TAPit?
Yes, I can.
Mom, Dad, Louisa, Nate, Grandpa, one of my cousins, Nadia.
So when that's baby.
Nadia is a baby? Mm-hmm.
I have family all over the world.
Like where?
The United States, Germany, and Lebanon.
Really?
Yeah.
We've been told by many instructors that when they're demonstrating something for a student and they lean over like so, it's very easy to bump your head when you're standing back up. A projector can be quite literally a headache. Of course, there's also the costly replacement lamp to consider, typically $300 to $400. But more importantly, look what happens when you have a projected light. It creates a shadow, and along with the bright hot spot and do you hear that? Fan noise. They're all distracting, particularly for students. Plus, with the light spilling onto this pale gray frame, it does little to focus your students' attention on the surface area.
I think the ability of the screen not having the glare and some of that reflection and all of that going on, I think helps the students really be connected to that board as well.
And if you've ever used a projector on a cart, you know how difficult it can be to get a stable image on a movable platform. One bump to this board and the image jumps around.
They couldn't even get up to the other satellite that I had in the room. And if they did, then the projection screen, their head was in the way.
Step out from beneath the shadows with TAPit. The purple frame defines the workspace, and the low glare screen is clearly visible in bright or dimmed lighting. So there's no need to turn off the classroom lights when using TAPit.
They quite often get distracted by their own shadow from the projector as well. That's taken away with that piece of equipment as well. That's not there. It's just going to make it easier for them.
To students with visual impairment, they have a lot of issues with glare. Our daughter especially has a lot of issues with glare. She can, if she had this, she could tilt it up. There are even times when she really wants to get in and put her face almost right up against the screen. And I can tell that this is a durable screen. A teacher would be able to easily wipe little fingerprints and smudges and nose prints off the screen. It seems very durable.
It just makes sense. It's no secret that the classroom is an active place. You need robust technology that can stand up to the daily wear and tear. Xavier is going to help me demonstrate today. Xavier, would you mind tracing your hand on the board? Look what happened. You see, when you put your hand on the board, it thought that that's where you wanted to write. But that isn't where you wanted to write, is it?
No.
Well, that's how other whiteboards work. By touching the board with one hand and attempting to write on it with the other, the board only recognized his first point of contact. So Xavier, let's try the same thing on the TAPit.
Good idea.
Okay Xavier, how about you try tracing your hand again on the TAPit and see what happens?
Okay.
Great job!
Thanks.
So why was Xavier able to trace his hand successfully on the TAPit and not over here? Well, the answer lies in the difference between intended and unintended touch. On an inclined screen like this, it's very hard, even for me, to make sure I don't accidentally rest my arm on the board, especially after working for an extended period of time. Imagine how difficult it can be for a student with fine motor delays or involuntary arm movements to work on this board. Because it doesn't understand your intended touch, it's impractical and inaccessible. The solution is TAPit's intended touch technology.
I really like the feature that they can lean on the board and write at the same time. So the difference between the unintended and the intended touch.
Especially with the younger kids, they like to touch the board. Sometimes they lean on the board when they write, and having the attentional touch has been helpful because they're not accidentally putting their elbow on the board and moving their mouse when they meant to be touching somewhere else.
And the student doesn't have that frustration of moving to a new screen or moving to a different agenda on the board because they perhaps rested an elbow on the screen. And I think that's really huge for our particular type of student.
Let's review TAPit. It's an ADA wheelchair-compliant device. The screen is shadow-free and low glare. It has 360-degree spinning wheels with commercial-grade locking casters. You can expect exact, accurate response to the touch of a finger or assistive device. TAPit ignores accidental touches, accommodating students with fine motor delays. Enable your students to excel beyond their academic expectations with the best access to interactive learning.
I was previously a first grade teacher. I wouldn't be worried about having that product in my first grade classroom. I wouldn't be nervous about it being broken.
I've seen products like this before, and there are tons of limitations. I'm a special ed teacher by trade, and this would be such a great tool for so many different populations.
I love the TAPit. I think that's wonderful. It integrates kids who may have many different problems into a classroom, hopefully with the kid who has the normal abilities for either educationally, academically, or whatever. It's brilliant, brilliant. I really like it.
The school in which I teach is a designated school for handicapped children, and we don't have any technology like this. The TAPit really does look like it would help a number of our disabled students extremely well. To be frank, I didn't, know that it's been worth my trip down here to Olympia just to see this one device. It's absolutely fantastic.